Bob, I have a committee report from Bruce.
Okay, very good.
We are now live streaming.
Welcome to your first meeting here in Lancaster. It's your first meeting here too. Welcome. Great. I got 528 or 628. What do you got?
Yeah, nothing.
Okay.
I'll bring my phone. I don't have,
6:28.
yeah. So that's good.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Mark, you got your bell back, right?
I am all back.
Yeah.
It was over here for some reason.
Not in great yet. Birthday.
That's from the tax office.
I'm gonna swap that out next week before the meeting with an air horn.
We do a trap door instead.
Little slide in it. It doesn't matter.
I just realized it too. As soon as you walked over, I'm like, I could have done that.
Diane, you're always on top of everything, so nice job. Okay, I got 6:30. Welcome to the Lancaster Town Board work session. Tonight, we're going to have some people here from Uniland who are going to be doing a presentation in just a couple of minutes. Just so the town board knows and the people here know, a little bit later, we're going to have our regular meeting starting at 7 o'clock. During the work session, we'll go around with all the department heads and the town board and ask them what's going on in the different areas and anything they want to bring to the attention of the public or the rest of the town board members. Before we get started, before we have the gentleman up here from Uniland, I just want to talk about an unfortunate incident. We had a fire over on Robert Drive, and basically 50 people were displaced from that apartment complex. Luckily, our fire department got there in a very timely manner, was able to get everybody out of the place safely. Excellent job by the fire department. After that, we had 50 residents who had to have somewhere to go. So our OEM coordinator, Ron Rosler, as part of the plan for the town, came up with the senior center. And so the 50 people were taken over to the senior center, where the people, the employees of the senior center and the department head, Mary Beth Gianna, did a spectacular job taking care of these people, got them food and water and shelter. And then the Youth Bureau came over right across the parking lot there and did a spectacular job, brought them all sorts of other things. There was a pregnant woman. They got her everything that she needed. And to this day, they're still collecting items for her to help her out. And during that time period, we had our own town board members involved. We had Adam Dickman, who's a fireman, and he was there. He was at the scene. And then we had Dawn Schroeder over here, who came in and she volunteered her own
Apparel and stuff.
yeah, town shirts and sweatshirts and clothing for these people because they needed something. And it was very awe-inspiring to watch the town employees and even some of our own town board members work to bring comfort to these people who got displaced during that fire. Also, rec department people were there. People came from all over the place to help out. Very awe-inspiring. It was, great to show you what type of people we have here in the town. So kudos to all of them, and thank everybody on the town board who was involved, or was there, or volunteering, or checking in. It was for an unfortunate incident, it ended well, and we appreciate everything that everybody did. Okay, gentlemen from Uniland, I'm sorry, what is your name again?
Sure, I will let you know.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I'll set these on the chairs, probably easiest for everybody to see.
There's an easel.
Oh, even better.
Easel behind you over there.
This is classic.
5 minutes? They get 5
All right, well, good evening. My name is Kevin Kirk. I'm the Director of Planning and Design at Uniland Development. I'm here tonight to do a sketch plan review with the board and kind of give you an overview of what we're trying to propose before we move forward with anything with the site plan approval with the planning board. So just an initial thought from the board.
Yep.
We have our property out in Eastport. Which I'm sure everybody is aware unfortunately sits vacant right now. But we do have an opportunity in front of us that I think will help what we think kind of kickstart this a little bit in that development. So what we're proposing is some smaller industrial storage type facilities, a total of 6 buildings. The location will be off a pavement. We have a piece of land that's about 11 acres right here that's a bit divided from the major chunk. The whole thing's about 120, but this is divided with that national fuel easement that goes through there. So this is a bit of a standalone piece where we feel like we have an opportunity that we can do something like this. So essentially, we're looking at 6 buildings. They would range in size from the smallest one being about 13,000 down on this end to up to 24,000 on the other end. The idea is to make it as multi-tenant as possible. This is not a specific tenant-driven. It's a spec type situation. So we're looking to anything from even 1,500 square feet up to somebody taking the whole building if they were interested. We're finding, we did a couple projects at Bethlehem Steel, a couple very large buildings, 150,000 square foot buildings, and we're finding a lot of tenants approaching us looking for 5,000 type square foot spaces that we don't have to offer at this point. We think this is kind of a nice little spot in the market where we can get those smaller tenants. I'm sure you've seen enough of them probably pop up throughout the town in the last few years as well. So I don't think this is a new product that you're not used to seeing. Height of the buildings be about 16 feet at the eaves, so 16 foot clear at the lowest point. It's not a very large structure in size and mass per se. Up to 110,000 square feet total with all 6 buildings. One of the things I know in my preliminary conversations with Matt was about parking. I think a few of these facilities have been done throughout the town, and there was some concerns maybe because you don't know what tenants are coming in. We initially don't see a large need for parking, but we do have the ability, what we're showing here is to add some additional parking if we get tenants that need that parking. You just don't know where this is going to go yet. So we do have the land in this area and potentially more as we work through our civil drawings. I think we're going to have more in this area too. So I don't see the parking being a major issue if we got a tenant that was occupying that space for a little bit more than just storage. I think that's about the high end of it.
Okay.
Any questions?
Questions from the board?
You only have the entrances on pavement, right? Nothing from Pleasant View? I can see it.
We have nothing on Pleasant View. We have no intentions on there. We are showing points off the pavement as well as a point off of our Eastport Drive that goes through the site.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, and what type of tenants do you expect to be coming in there? Are we going to be running businesses out of there? Is it going to be storage, or do you know at this point?
I would say primarily storage,
Okay.
but that's not to say there wouldn't be a smaller, a lot of construction companies looking for spaces like that.
Is there going to be heat?
There would be a heat unit per space. How we have this designed right now is basically 1,500 square foot spaces. So each 1,500 square foot space would have an overhead door and a man door, and it can be, divided down to that amount. But if somebody came and they said, hey, we were looking for, 4,500 square feet, they would take 3 of those. Each space would be designed to have an individual heating unit, no air conditioning, but heating.
Okay. No water?
No water, the restroom's optional depending on if tenant's storing or whether if the tenant's using the space, then we would have to put a restroom in.
Do we want to give the thumbs up to send this on to the planning board at this point? You guys good with
I don't
it?
see any issues with it.
Yeah, I don't see any-
Everybody good? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it, thanks for the time.
Good luck.
All right.
Okay, next up, we're going to go around to our department heads. Matt, what do you got for us?
Well, I can say that I'm going to reiterate what you just spoke about with all of the events in my absence. I missed our last meeting. I went to visit Summer, but I was monitoring the events as they happened. Ironically, 2 days before I left, the app that was provided by our highway department for public notifications came in handy. It worked well. Notifications at 2 o'clock in the morning, which were actually 8 o'clock here this time, and, that sort of a thing. But, I can say, watching it from afar, a lot of things worked, and it was very impressive. People could not fathom 4 and 6 feet of snow, of course, in the tropical paradise, but, that's the reality of it. That's the environment that we live in, and everybody that played a role in that did an excellent job. When I did return, the interest and the inquiry from stormwater management perspective, I did tour the town to see where all the historic flooding areas were, and sure enough, that's, where the water had to be, that's where it went. So that's reflected in the MS4 report that was provided on Friday. I will remind, this board and hopefully through continued conversations, public sidewalk maintenance, it's pretty important that we get those areas cleared out. To this day, there's still some barriers. We'll call them some ice dams from plowing contractors where, that public sidewalk in neighborhoods and in commercial settings is still impeded. So, getting the word out, having those discussions with everybody involved is going to play a huge role in future events. So, it appears that, we're hearing the same form of discussion throughout the entire day today. I'm hearing community. I'm hearing neighbor helping out a neighbor. And that's who we are, I think, as a town. Although we're going to have those instances where you have discrepancies, and that's normal, but it's important. The neighborhoods are helping each other out, getting through these events, the fire, the storm, cleaning out for an elderly neighbor in the yard or in the neighborhood. It's pretty important. So, that's all reflected again in all of the reports. I want to thank the board for considering the Resolution 20 tonight. It's going to be a great addition to the department and an excellent avenue to service the residents better and let us do what we do. All of our code officials last week attended their annual in-service training conference, so they're all up to speed with their 24 hours in service training for the year. And that also incorporates our annual report to the Department of State. So I'm in process of doing that. And once the reports are filed, I will also file those respectively with the municipal clerks.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
We're going to skip Ed for right now because he's going to talk about a potential project if the board wants to proceed with it. Why don't we jump right in? Nick, go ahead. This is Nick Swanson. He's our new Director of Administration and Finance. Anything for tonight?
I just want to thank you all, for especially Bob for placing his trust in me as the Director of Administration and Finance. I've met a lot of great people so far, and I'm looking forward to meeting more of you after today's meeting. Everything's been so far so good. I think Bob's doing a great job, and, you know, there's a lot of good energy in the office right now, and I think the town's headed in a good direction, and my biggest plan is to keep momentum going and keep on top of the 2024 budget and planning for the future.
Great, thank you. We also have Eric Finbar, who's our new assessor here. Eric? And guys, you'll learn, if you could come up here, the people who watch this on TV want to be able to hear everything you said. So in the future, yeah, come to the podium.
Today was my first day, so we got everything set up, and I look forward and thank you guys for the opportunity to work for the town.
Great, glad to have you guys here.
Well,
John? Good.
So over the past few weeks, Highway Department has been very busy in the snow removal aspect. Our efforts after we've been maintaining the roads from that last snowstorm. We received around 60 inches of snowfall over the course of about a week. So our efforts have been concentrated on widening out the roads, hauling snow from cul-de-sacs, and knocking down high snow piles at intersections. When the snow melts, you get potholes. So we've been road patching, have crews out there doing that too. And we are really busy fixing a lot of mailboxes. Other than that, I know we are 2 weeks out from the storm. I just got the same sentiment Matt said. It's a huge thank you to you, Bob, the whole board, everyone that helped out. Ron Rosler, Chief Gummo, Bruce Stutz, all my highway crew. I mean, the communication was just spot on with everything, and it was, you know, difficult for all of us, but everyone made it like one. And it's just good to hear. I had constant communication with Mark and Bob and Missy, and Dawn was out of town, but I heard from her as soon as she came back. Adam was calling me from the village. You know, constant contact with Chief and Ron. So kudos to everybody, and thank you very much for all your help.
Excellent job, John. Chief?
I won't go into it much at length, but again, with what John said, the communication just with everybody throughout everything during that event was, I think, the key to making it as successful as it was. Couple things that I think are worth noting. Early on when we discussed different things involving training within the department, I've been working with our training coordinator, Lieutenant Spire, and the captains on kind of reworking the way the department has been doing training and trying to come up with a plan, maybe some online platform that we're considering looking into to assist with continuing a high level of quality training, yet minimizing the amount of extra time people have to come in to do training. I know that's been something that the board has been interested in seeking, so we've kind of looked at a few different platforms, and we're currently still having some discussions about how we're going to progress. We still have, we're currently involved with some training going on currently today, and we have some planned for February, but as we move forward in the rest of the year, we're looking to possibly make some changes and implement some different dynamics in how we do our training. I've reached out to chiefs throughout the area to try to get some insight as to what different agencies do so that we can just kind of make sure we're on the right track with everything. So as that progresses, I will fill the board in. I also wanted to touch base with the board, and for those of you that I've spoken to, I appreciate it. Those I haven't, we've been looking at ways to save some money, and one of the biggest ways is with our vehicles. We were able to formulate a very good relationship with a dealer past Syracuse that we get our vehicles from. They let me know that they had some vehicles that were holdovers, new vehicles for potential use in 2025. So I tentatively have 5 vehicles on hold right now. Once we get through making the resolution request, hopefully next week we can get it to the board, and we will save approximately $120,000 in purchasing these vehicles now versus waiting and having to possibly look at a different platform.
Yeah, I was going to say, explain.
That'll actually, according to the dealer, Dodge is looking to create a completely new platform for 2026. What this will do is that'll get us through that point with the current chargers that we have and the equipment that we already have for these vehicles. So it's a pretty significant savings and gets us to at least looking at what the potential is for the next vehicle platform for the police department. So I'll bring that to you guys when I have things final.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ed?
Yeah, real quick before I get to the other project. Senior Center, electrical work's been initiated, lights are in, meter boxes installed, we're waiting for NICEAG to do some wiring. Seabrook Road culvert contracts are in your office for signature. Once I get those, get them back over to DOT, and they sign them, then we're off and running.
Okay.
And grant writer, I gave you guys proposals, so if you have any feedback, let me know which way you may or may not want to go, so with that.
Yeah, we're looking at it. Dawn has the booklet right now, so.
I do, yeah. Got it.
And then the last thing is Bob and I had talked, looking at trying to connect some neighborhoods via sidewalks, walking paths, whatever you want to call them. And one area that jumped out was connecting Stony Brook to Juniper. So, sorry, so I'll take one and pass it around real quick. The town owns a big swath of land in between those two subdivisions. It's wetland.
Thank you.
Which is fine. And on the Stony Brook, on the Stony Brook side, coming off of Whitestone Lane, there's a stub end street that just kind of goes between the two lots and dead ends. That's town owned. And the thought was to take that and run it completely east-west over to Juniper. And Juniper has sidewalks. The second page I gave you is just kind of a blow-up of the area. Trying to keep it south a little bit from the homes that are there, sort of maintain some kind of a natural vegetation buffer visually. Once you get to Juniper, obviously, as I said, Juniper has sidewalks. The thought was we were trying to get to the school. The issue is that you can go up Juniper and over Carlisle, but you eventually run into a private development. It's a HOA-owned development on Hanover Street that does not have sidewalks. So either we'd have to have some discussions with the HOA, or the other option is once you got to Juniper, you follow the sidewalk to Juniper, which goes all the way to Pleasant View, and then possibly look at a small piece of sidewalk on Pleasant View from Juniper to the school. But that's, kind of the next whole phase of this project. The area where I'm showing the path going east to west there, that's kind of the northern edge of the town-owned property. And the town owns that whole piece that's empty. Like I said, it's mostly wetland. If the town were in favor of progressing this to the next step, I would bring out a wetland specialist and have them look at that north edge, define where the wetland is, if it's there, how much is there. Doesn't mean you can't disturb it. You can disturb some wetland, and then, but it may limit what we can play with in width, because we're only allowed up to an acre under the nationwide permit. Go over the acre, but just a little bit more paperwork. But that would be the next step. Would be to bring in a wetland specialist, have them walk that area, delineate it, survey it, and based on what we find, then we'd have some decisions to make. My hope is that as we get towards that northern edge, that we're on the fringe of the wetland, so maybe some of the sidewalk is in it, so if it's not, I just keep, we just won't know until it's delineated.
Okay, so again, the idea is to connect these neighborhoods, keep the kids off of Pleasant View, except for where they absolutely have to be, walking up to the school. If we can't work something out with the HOA, but you're talking hundreds of houses here being combined, going both ways, bike path in there, walking path in there, There are potentially some other places throughout the town where we might be able to do the same type of thing. So that's what we were looking at. This is the first time the board has heard it, so I'm not asking you to commit to anything, but we can talk about it and see if we want to proceed with it going forward. And obviously would have to have a public hearing and, invite in people from the neighborhood. So thank you very much. Thanks, Ed. Anything else?
No, really, when you're ready, you want to proceed, the next piece would be the wetlands. For a quick walkover, it's typically $1,000 or less. If they have to go to a full-blown delineation, then you're talking a few $1,000s to do that survey. So that would be the next investment to figure out, okay, what can we get through here, make it easy and not have to go through hoops with the Corps, Army Corps.
Great. Thank you. All right, we got some time. Why don't we go through the resolutions? First resolution is mine. It's to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the town board held January 16th. The second one is also mine, approve audited claims. Councilmember Dickman.
Number 3 is the acknowledge the issuance of the building permits.
Councilmember Schroeder, number 4.
The replacement of a base mount pump at Town Hall here.
Okay, number 5 is appoint myself as the Fair Housing Officer. Number 6, adopt the Town of Lancaster Fair Housing Plan. And number 7, approve Sean Warnes, Youth Bureau Tutor, part-time, permanent. Councilmember Schroeder, number 8.
Allowing John to chaperone a trip for children to Albany.
Okay. Number 9 is appoint Mary Vento, recreation instructor, part-time, permanent. And then we come to number 10, appoint Rebecca Baker, deputy assessor, part-time, temporary. The idea there is for her to hang out and help our new assessor get accustomed to the office, people, and anything that's specific to the town of Lancaster. So that's only a part-time. And then again, if we, do something in the future and need her back to help out, then she'd be able to come back at that point in time. Councilmember Schroeder, number 11.
Accepting bids for a tree program.
Okay, number 12 is to appoint Eric Finbar, assessor, part-time, temporary. Number 13 is amend rate of pay for part-time permanent assistant dog control officers. Number 14, award bid for consolidated water district system improvement contract. Number 15, approve amended site plan for Casey Machine Company at 74 Ward Road. Number 16, approve preliminary flat for 5767 and 5775 Genesee Street, minor subdivision. Number 17, authorize the supervisor to execute agreement, certifications, reimbursements with New York State Department of Transportation, Bridge New York funding for Seabrook Road culvert. Once I get that, I can sign off on that. Number 18, Councilmember Burkhardt.
Approve purchase of a 2024 Ford F-450 for the Highway Department.
Okay, number 19 is authorized transfers in the 2023 budget. Number 20, authorized preparation of PO 17 form, new position duties statement for one assistant code enforcement officer. Number 21, authorized transfers from the 2024 budget. And number 22, approve the agreement with Wendell Consulting Services regarding the GIS support services for the Highway Department. And if I could just say one more thing, John, we talked about what a great job you guys did at the last town board meeting, but you weren't here. So I don't want this to come across as like a slight. Okay, yeah, because you guys were too busy out there working. So again, we really appreciate everything that you guys did. Rec department did, police department did, fire department people were out doing their thing. Tremendous work to get this town cleaned up. And West Seneca can claim that they had the most snow, but they only had it for one day. We had it day after day after day, so great job. All right, we got about 5 minutes before the town board meeting begins.
Their sidewalks here, the sidewalks stop here.
What's that?
Fair housing.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have an individual interaction.
Yeah. And then I thought they.
Pointed to?
There is a clubhouse.
And then there was
the
the
pedestrian traffic where they missed
fair housing plan.
And at the clubhouse, and it would have been easy.
That's what I,
That's what
Okay.
would have happened.
Yeah.
Had they
stop
done
for
what
that.
they were
That's what I
permitted to do. or Required.
Problem. Yeah, John brought it.
Yeah.
Anybody
Suited up.
School district.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
hard to deal with.
That's perfect. Like,
It's tough.
I know that's
It's
where they're, but
But still,
it's
it's
still
walkable.
keeps them off of
Keeps them off Pleasantview.
It's kind of embarrassing.
all the time, so I'm so used to like.
I mean, if the school, if the school were willing, they could, they could certainly put their own path there.
We could get further description. Better forum. There's a lot of different ways to get.
It's good to see that
Just
they're
through developments connected at high school.
Yeah, some of the pictures there. Yep.
You know, they just did a huge improvement along this area back here. There, as I said, that part of it is done, so it's just making it connections. I think it can work.
Yeah.
Looks nice.
Now with the sidewalk.
How many feet is that?
It's about,
That looks nice.
I was gonna say, it's almost 800 feet across. I've never seen that across.
That's probably something that would put lighting and stuff up too, right? We'll probably put lighting and stuff up
Yeah, you
too
would
for
probably,
security.
you would want to bring some lighting through there. I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so long, I was playing with the width to get it to an acre or less, but I was pushing it.
Either way, a joint
Going.
application is going to be awarded to that.
Well, if I get it less than an acre, I can use an insurance.
I leave for Minneapolis tomorrow.
How do they?
1,900 feet.
It's training, but it'll be nice. Get some good food.
Linear feet
Somebody
from
else.
the dead end to
Yeah. It's gonna find you out colder.
Yeah, so it takes 2,000
It's gonna be
by,
15 to 15.
he went 10 feet wide. I gotta see the plan. I was there, you're at 20,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's brutal. We have it bad.
They wouldn't let you use the nation.
Take what's left and you breathe.
Use the nation. That was my goal. But also got to figure out how much. Maybe when London go that far north.
it does. The reason why the wooded area hits that pond area.
We were so excited. Oh my gosh, gotta be excited. Yes. Because we lost, our girls were
They did it without a permit.
Yeah, well,
Permit, you're good.
and then the other issue is,
New one,
well,
yeah,
new,
new cookie dealer. Yeah.
No, because it doesn't connect to a water body. Elliott Creek is way north, Jacqueline Creek is way south.
right, so under the Supreme Court rule,
It's hard to
non-jurisdiction.
It could be.
Although if you ordered them online, you paid the
Look at
$8
even these parcels.
would have been shipped to your house already. I'm like, I'm not paying $8.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the town board meeting for February 5th, 2024. Diane, roll call, please.
Councilmember Burkhart.
Here.
Councilmember Dickman.
Here.
Councilmember Schroeder. Here. Councilmember Studley.
Here.
Supervisor Leary.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation by Councilmember Mark Burkhart.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
Precious Lord, please give us guidance in this meeting because a lack of guidance causes a nation to fall. But victory is won through many advisors. Lord, let us not be misguided in this meeting so that we do not lead to decisions that produce ineffective results. I pray that you direct our steps so that this meeting can achieve our kingdom aims. We place you at the center of this. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, tonight we're going to have 22 pre-filed resolutions, 2 public hearings, and 2 executive sessions. This meeting will close in the memory of Dan Butler. All right, at this point in time, we'd like to welcome anybody who wants to come up here and address the town board on any of the pre-filed or suspended resolutions. And it's not going to be a time for a whole heck of a lot of people, because we're going to have a couple of public hearings at 7:05. But the town board will hear the concerns of persons desiring to address the town board on any of the pre-filed resolutions. You please raise your hand and be recognized by myself. Give your name and address to the town clerk and speak directly to the town board members, not the audience, using the microphone provided. Speak once for 5 minutes or less, unless the town board grants the speaker an extension of this time limit. Is there anybody here who wants to address the town board at this time? Okay, and any of the pre-filed resolutions? Going once, for a second time, for a third time. Nobody appears to want to talk to the town board on any pre-filed resolutions tonight. We got a couple of minutes, and so I'm going to begin with, first off, our public hearings tonight, which will be at 7:05. One is for a special use permit, Caliber Collision. The second one is for LL residency requirements. Does anybody have any official reports on the town board? Okay, how about any committee reports for the town board?
I have one for Parks and Recreation.
Go ahead.
Fortunately, Bruce Stutt's going to be with us tonight. He has a dental issue, and he's home resting right now. So he asked me to pass along some information. This week, last week, losing track of days, we had a small fire at the Youth Bureau. Again, with everyone working together, as we said, as a community, everything went pretty smoothly as far as putting the fire out and getting things together. So Bruce wanted me to express that a great job by all of the Lancaster first responders and Town of Lancaster Working Crew Chief Ron Hoffman with limiting the fire, smoke, and water damage last Monday at the Lancaster Youth Bureau. Great response and teamwork by all the contractors and town employees that worked diligently for the Youth Bureau to be operational by 6:25 p.m. later that night and hosting programs the following day. The hot water tank has been replaced and is operational, and the final coat of paint will be going on the walls in the mechanical room tomorrow morning. And also the Youth Bureau door project, they're replacing the doors. Main entryway doors at the Lancaster Youth Bureau have been removed, and the installation of the new doors is scheduled to begin tomorrow. That's it.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce.
Okay, we only got a minute. So we're going to get right into the public hearings. Public hearing number 1, I'm going to read the legal notice. Okay, legal notice is hereby given that pursuant to the authority set forth in Chapter 400 zoning, Section 78, special use permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster and the Town Law of the State of New York, and pursuant to a resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster, adopted on the 16th day of January, 2024, the said Town Board will hold a public hearing on the 5th of February, 2024, at 7:05 at local time at the Town Hall, 21 Central Avenue, New York, to hear all interested persons on the application of Donald Babcock Jr. on behalf of Body Works of New York, LLC, DBA Caliber Collision Centers, 2941 Lake Vista Drive, Louisville, Texas, to use premises at 4274 Walden Avenue, SBL number 94.00-3-25.1, Town of Lancaster, County of Erie, New York, to operate an auto body and paint repair shop in the light industrial zoning district in accordance with provisions of Chapter 400-20 light industrial and Chapter 400-28 off-street parking, loading, and stacking facilities of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. Okay, full opportunity to be heard will be given to all citizens and parties of interest. Does anybody here? Oh. Motion to open the public hearing, please.
Motion open.
Thank you. Do I have a second? On the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, I knew that was going to happen, so we got ahead of it. Okay, does anybody here want to talk about this particular public hearing? Step up to the microphone, please. Give your name and address.
Hello, my name is Christina Loiza. Address is 2941 Lake Vista Drive, Louisville, Texas, 75067.
And could you spell your name?
CHRISTINALOAYZA.
Thank you.
So I'm with Caliber, and I just wanted to thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. And we're really excited to be a part of the community, and I got to hear a little bit of what you guys were talking about earlier and how you worked together during the snow. And it makes me really proud to be a part of this community, to be able to help and do those things. So, and auto body and collision is the same thing. We're restoring our customers to the rhythm of their lives. Just how you did, you restored your community to the rhythm of their lives so that they can get back to doing what it is that they need to do, right? And we do the same thing whenever somebody's in a collision. It just really disrupts people's lives, and we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So I thank you for allowing us to be here. I did have some questions. If there's any kind of conditions, I would like to speak with somebody in regarding any of the conditions so we can make sure that we adhere to them.
Okay, if there's any conditions on there, we'll get that back to you at a future point.
Okay,
And
perfect.
then, yes, and then you can ask questions
Okay.
at that time.
We look forward to serving you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to speak for the public hearing number 1? For the second time? For the third time? Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to open up public hearing number 2? Close public hearing number 1.
Motion closed.
Second.
On the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to open up public hearing number 2?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, on the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. Legal notice is hereby given that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster will hold a public hearing on the 5th day of February 2024 at 7:05 PM at the Town Hall, 21 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York, for purposes considering a local law amendment to Chapter 53, residency requirements of the Town of Lancaster Code, amending Section 53-2C, hiring of employees to include criteria for hiring of non-civil service full-time professionals by the Town of Lancaster. Copies of the revised local law can be reviewed at Lancaster Town Hall, again, located at 21 Central Avenue during normal business hours, and on the Town of Lancaster's website. All interested members of the public shall be heard. Okay, does anybody want to speak on this particular subject? For the second time? Anybody want to speak on this for the third time? Nobody appears to be wanting to speak on this one. Can I have a motion to close this public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
On the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much. Okay, at this point in time, we're going to get into our pre-filed resolutions by the town board members. And the first one is mine. Move resolution number 1. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of the town board held January 16th, 2024 be and are hereby approved. Can I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 2, be it resolved that the following audited claims be and are hereby ordered, paid from their respective accounts as per abstract to be filed. Are you supposed to be doing this one?
No.
No,
Okay.
it didn't come.
Oh.
Okay.
That was good.
Okay. Audit claims be and are hereby ordered, paid from their respective accounts as per abstract to be filed in the office of the town clerk by the supervisor's office. Do we have an amount for this? It's not on mine.
I have it in the other room. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Give me 2 seconds.
Sure.
This is the abstract.
Okay. Check run number 02052024 for an amount of $1,357,485.71. Total amount, okay. Do I have a second on this one?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Dickman.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Board. I offer Resolution 3 for adoption. Resolved that the following building permit applications be and are hereby reaffirmed. There's 23 total, 19 in the town and 4 in the village. Now therefore be it resolved that the building permit applications herein coded CSW for conditional sidewalk waiver be and are hereby reaffirmed with the waiver of the town ordinance required for sidewalks. However, the waiver is granted upon the express condition that the town of Lancaster at any future date reserves the right to order sidewalk installation at the expense of the property owner.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question, I have a question. Do any of these permits have anything to do with a sidewalk in front of, on the property?
None.
None of them? Okay, thank you. On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Schroeder, number 4, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I move resolution number 4, whereas by letter dated January 16th, 2024, Bruce Stutz, the Town of Lancaster Park Crew Chief, has requested the town board approve expenditures for the installation of an Armstrong base mount pump at Town Hall. Whereas Bruce Stutz, Park Crew Chief for the Town of Lancaster, has recommended that the Town of Lancaster authorize Muhlenberg Betts to perform the installation only in an amount not to exceed $2,899. The Town of Lancaster will provide the pump, and whereas the project will be paid for with funds from the town's 2024 budget line item 011620-411, Buildings Contractual Services, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby approves the expenditure of funds as requested by Bruce Stutz, Park Crew Chief, for the installation of an Armstrong base mounted pump at the Lancaster Town Hall in an amount not to exceed $2,899. The Town of Lancaster will provide the pump, and be it further resolved that the project will be paid for with funds from the town's 2024 budget line item, Buildings Contractual Services.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 5. Be it resolved that Robert Leary be and is hereby appointed as Fair Housing Officer for the Town of Lancaster effective January 1, 2024, and be it further resolved that this resolution shall become effective upon adoption and shall supersede all previous resolutions of this board. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 6, whereas the Town of Lancaster has applied for federal community development funds, known as Community Development Block Grant Funds, for the 2023 and 2024 year, and whereas as a component of the town receiving these funds, the Town of Lancaster must adopt and adhere to an approved fair housing plan. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby adopts the Town of Lancaster Fair Housing Plan as presented. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 7, whereas John Trojanowski, Executive Director of the Town of Lancaster Youth Bureau, by letter dated January 23rd, 2024, has recommended the appointment of the following individual to the position of part-time permanent tutor for the Lancaster Youth Bureau. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the following individual is hereby appointed to the following part-time permanent position in the Town of Lancaster Youth Bureau, working not more than 19 3/4 hours per week, and that this, as being a part-time position, provides no health insurance or sick days or vacation or other fringe benefits not specifically mandated for part-time employees. And the name on this one is for Sean Warnes out of Lancaster, position tutor, hourly rate at $18, effective date today, February 5th, 2024. Be it further resolved that the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Schroeder, Resolution 8, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I move resolution number 8, whereas by memo dated January 21st, 2024, the Director of the town's Youth Bureau, John Trojanowski, has notified the town board that he has invited students from the Lancaster High School and St. Mary's High School to attend the New York State Youth Leadership Forum and legislative meetings in Albany, New York on February 5th and 6th, 2024 with him. And whereas the event is sponsored by the New York State Association of Youth Bureaus, and all expenses associated with the trip will be covered by the association, including transportation to and from the event. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Lancaster Town Board hereby approves John Trojanowski, Youth Bureau Director, attending and chaperoning 4 students at the New York State Youth Leadership Forum and legislative meetings in Albany, New York on February 5th and 6th, 2024, with all expenses associated with transportation and attendance being covered by the New York State Association of Youth Bureaus.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 9, whereas Mary Beth Gianni, Director of the Town of Lancaster Senior Citizen Center, by letter dated January 26, 2024, has recommended the appointment of the following individual to the position of part-time permanent recreation Zumba instructor for the Lancaster Senior Citizens Center. Now therefore be it resolved that the following individual is hereby appointed to the following part-time permanent position in the Town of Lancaster Senior Citizens Center, working not more than 19 3/4 hours per week, and that this being a part-time position provides no health insurance, sick days, vacations, or other fringe benefits not specifically mandated for part-time employees. Name is Mary Vento, address in Lancaster, New York, position recreation instructor Zumba, hourly rate of $32, effective date is February 13th, 2024. Be it further resolved that the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 10, whereas Rebecca Baker has retired from the position of assessor for the Town of Lancaster effective January 30th, 2024, and by the way, I'd like to thank her for her service in that position. Did a great job. Continuing with the resolution, whereas by email dated January 25th, 2024, Town Supervisor Robert Leary has requested that Rebecca Baker provide training assistance to the new town assessor who will be assuming those duties in the assessor's office, and to provide general office assistance as needed. And whereas this is a part-time temporary position working not more than 19 3/4 hours per week and provides no health insurance, sick days, or vacation or other fringe benefits not specifically mandated for part-time employees. Now therefore be it resolved that Rebecca Baker be and is hereby appointed to the position of Deputy Assessor Part-Time Temporary at the rate of $55 per hour with a retro-effective date of January 31st, 2024, on an as-needed basis, and be it further resolved that this resolution shall supersede and replace all prior agreements, promises, and understandings, oral or written, between the town and Rebecca Baker, and the supervisor of the town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dignan?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Schroeder, resolution number 11, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I move resolution number 7. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster has authorized the administration of a yearly tree planting program for the purpose of beautifying the rights-of-way of public highways and streets of the Town of Lancaster by furnishing shade trees, and whereas funds for the 2024 tree planting program have been allocated to the Town of Lancaster 2024 adopted budget, and whereas the Tree Planting Committee of the Town Board has reviewed the Town of Lancaster's tree planting program and recommends the planting of certain species of trees on certain streets in accordance with the official tree planting master plan of the Town of Lancaster and specifications on file in the Town Clerk's office in Town Hall, Lancaster, New York, now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1, that sealed bids be received by the Town Clerk by no later than 10 a.m. local time on February 26, 2024, for meeting the requirements of the Town of Lancaster's 2024 tree planting program and for supplying trees in accordance with specifications on file in the Town Clerk's office. And 2, that the Town Clerk be and is hereby authorized to have a notice to bidders and nurserymen published in the Lancaster Bee, and to have said notice posted as required by law, which notice shall be in the form attached hereto and made a part hereof.
Okay, I have a second.
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dignan?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 12, whereas Supervisor Robert Leary has recommended the appointment of Eric Finbar to the position of Assessor Part-Time to fill the vacancy created by the retirement of Rebecca Baker on January 30th, 2024, and whereas Eric currently serves as the Assessor for the Town of West Seneca, New York, and is qualified under the laws of New York State, and the Town Board wishes to appoint Mr. Finbar as Assessor Part-Time for the Town of Lancaster, and whereas the Town Attorney has reviewed and approved an intermunicipal agreement between the Town of West Seneca and the Town of Lancaster to share duties of the assessor between the respective municipalities, now therefore be it resolved as follows. Number 1, Eric Finbar is hereby designated to act as assessor for the Town of Lancaster for the period February 5th, 2024 through and including December 31st of 2025, in accordance with the terms and conditions set forth in the intermunicipal agreement between the Town of Lancaster and the Town of West Seneca for such period, and Mr. Finbar shall be paid an annual salary of $60,000 in equal quarterly installments to the Town of West Seneca, and the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to execute the intermunicipal agreement substantially in the form presented, and is authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. Be it further resolved, this being a part-time temporary position provides no health insurance, sick or vacation days, holiday pay, or other fringe benefits not specifically mandated for part-time employees. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dignan?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. And Eric is with us tonight. Eric? Welcome on board. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, resolution number 13. Whereas on January 2nd, 2024, at the organizational meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster, a resolution setting the salaries of various non-union represented town employees to be paid biweekly was approved, and whereas upon review, the town supervisor noticed an error regarding the hourly rate of the pay for the 3 part-time dog control officers working in that department in the amount of $1.25 an hour, and whereas Supervisor Leary requested that a resolution correcting the rate of pay from $20.60 to $21.85 for the 3 part-time dog control officers be presented to the town board for consideration. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the resolution adopted January 2nd, 2024, setting the hourly salary for the 3 part-time dog control officers in the town control of the Town Control Dogs Department be and is hereby amended to list their salary correctly to $21.85 an hour. Be it further resolved that this resolution takes effect retroactively to January 1, 2024, and the town supervisor is authorized to take whatever action is necessary to implement the foregoing. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 14, whereas the town board has previously duly advertised for bids for the water system improvement contract number TLN-12 Brunk Road and Siebert Road, and whereas 6 bids were received, opened, and reviewed on January 11th, 2024, and whereas Edward Schiller, the town engineer, consulting engineer by letter dated January 12th, 2024, has recommended awarding the bid to DJM Contracting Incorporated, being the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $2,050,860. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby awards the bid for the water system improvements contract number TLN-12 for Brunk Road and Siebert Road to DJM Contracting Incorporated, which work will involve the installation of approximately 7,800 linear feet of 6-inch and 8-inch PVC water main along Brunk Road and Siebert Road in the town of Lancaster in the amount of $2,050,860, being the lowest responsible bidder in conformance with the specifications on file in the office of William Shutt and Associates, and be it further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute the contract upon receipt and approval of the required documents and insurance certificates by the town attorney's office. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 15, whereas Stephen Galtz of Darrell Martin Architect on behalf of Casey Machine Company has submitted a site plan amendment proposing the addition of 15,000 square foot to an existing manufacturing building, a project involving approximately 7.27 acres on property known as 74 Ward in Lancaster, New York, in Erie County, SBL number 95.00-4-40. And whereas a SECRA review of this project was held on November 6, 2023, and a negative declaration was issued at that time, and whereas the amended site plan was presented at the October 18, 2023 Planning Board meeting, and again on January 3, 2024, and there being no changes to the plan, approval was recommended. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby approves the submitted site plan amendments for the addition of 15,000 square foot addition to an existing manufacturing building, project involving, as previously stated, 7.27 acres on a property known as 74 Ward in Lancaster. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 16, whereas a public hearing was held on September 6, 2023, on the petition of Mike Metzger of Metzger Civil Engineers on behalf of Douglas Wicks for the minor 4-lot subdivision approval of a parcel of land located at 5767 and 5775 Genesee Street, SBL 94.00-2-1 and 94.00-2-2 in Lancaster, New York, and whereas the Planning Board of the Town of Lancaster recommended approval of the preliminary plat at its January 3rd, 2024 meeting, with the condition that subdivision include the installation of a solid privacy fence between lots 1, 2, and 3, perpendicular to Stony Road and horizontal to Genesee Street on the lot line, and there being no further changes to the plan, said review was granted. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby approves the minor four-lot subdivision preliminary flat plan submitted with the following conditions, and installation of a solid privacy fence between lots 1, 2, and 3, perpendicular to Stony Road and horizontal to Genesee Street on the lot line. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 17, whereas a project for the Seabird Road culvert over drainage swale, PIN 5765.12, the project, is eligible for reimbursement of qualified costs from Bridge New York funding that calls for the post-reimbursement apportionment of the qualified cost to be borne at the ratio of 100% Bridge New York funds and 0% non-Bridge New York funds. And whereas the town of Lancaster will design, let, and administer all phases of the project, and whereas the town of Lancaster desires to advance the project by making a commitment of 100% of the cost for the project or portions thereof, now therefore be it resolved, the Lancaster Town Board hereby approves the project, and be it further resolved that the Lancaster Town Board hereby authorizes the town of Lancaster to pay 100% of the cost of the project for portions thereof, with the understanding that qualified costs will be reimbursed from Bridge New York funding, and be it further resolved that the sum of $799,944 is hereby appropriated from general fund through an interfund transfer account 19901 and made available to cover the cost of participation in the above phase of the project. And be it further resolved that the Lancaster Town Board hereby agrees that the town of Lancaster shall be responsible for all costs of the project, including costs which exceed the amount of reimbursement available from the New York Bridge funding awarded to the town of Lancaster. And be it further resolved that in the event the cost of the project exceed the amount appropriated above, the town of Lancaster shall convene as soon as possible to appropriate said excess amount immediately upon the notification by the project manager thereof. And be it further resolved that the Lancaster Town Board hereby agrees that the town of Lancaster hereby commits that construction of the project shall begin no later than 24 months after award, and the construction phase of the project shall be completed within 30 months. And be it further resolved that the supervisor of the town of Lancaster be and is hereby authorized to execute all necessary agreements, certifications, or reimbursement requests with the New York State DOT for state aid and/or Bridge New York funding on behalf of the town of Lancaster in connection with the advancement of or approval of the project, and providing for the administration of the project and the municipality's funding of the project cost. And be it further resolved that the town of Lancaster shall be responsible for all maintenance of the project. Be it further resolved that a certified copy of the resolution be filed with New York State Commissioner of Transportation by attaching it to any necessary agreement in connection with the project. And be it further resolved, this resolution shall take effect immediately. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart? Yes. Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Councilmember Burkhart, resolution number 18, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I'm offering Resolution 18 for adoption. Whereas the Town of Lancaster Highway Superintendent John Pilato, by letter dated January 22nd, 2024, has requested the purchase of one new and unused 2024 Ford F-450 cab chassis with utility body and components for the use by the Town of Lancaster Highway Department. And whereas the above referenced vehicle is available for purchase as per Onondaga County bid number ONGOV-106-19, reference number 7974, which eliminates the need for competitive bidding pursuant to Section 103 of General Municipal Law. And whereas the Onondaga County vendor is Van Bortle Ford in East Rochester, New York. whereas Highway Superintendent John Pilato has recommended the purchase of the vehicle in accordance with said specifications be made from Van Bortle Ford at a price not to exceed $74,493.40 per their proposal, and which will be paid for with funds from the 2024 Highway Budget Line 13-5110-0220, passenger vehicles, and whereas the town board deems it in the public interest to approve the purchase of said vehicle. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby approves the purchase of one new and unused 2024 Ford F-450 cab chassis with utility body and components for the use by the town of Lancaster Highway Department as proposed by Highway Superintendent John Pilato at a cost not to exceed $74,493.40.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 19, whereas upon review of the previous administration's Town of Lancaster budgetary accounts for the 2023 calendar year, the supervisor, at the request of various town department managers, has determined the necessity for adjustments to be made to the town's 2023 adopted budget. Now therefore be it resolved that the following budget amendments be and are hereby approved in the 2023 adopted budget of the town of Lancaster. In the police fund, $2,800 from professional services to internet access web hosting, $10,000 from contractual expenses, repairs and maintenance to contractual expenses, range supplies, $8,000 from contractual expenses, gasoline and oil to contractual expenses, range supplies. In the Parks Department, $1,500 from the equipment, trucks, and related equipment line to the equipment, other motorized equipment line. Forestry and Community Beautification, transfer $2,000 from contractual expenses, services performed by Highway Department to contractual expenses, rentals. Transfer $3,000 from contractual expenses, services performed by Highway Department to repairs of trucks and equipment. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 20, whereas Matthew Ficione, Code Enforcement Officer of the Town of Lancaster, by letter dated December 18th, 2023, has requested the creation of one additional position of Assistant Code Enforcement Officer in the Building and Zoning Department. Now therefore be it resolved that the Supervisor of the Town of Lancaster be and is hereby authorized to complete and submit Form PO 17, new position duty statement for authorization by the County of Erie Department of Personnel to create one additional position of Assistant Code Enforcement Officer in the town's Building and Zoning Department. Be it further resolved that the Supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary actions to implement the foregoing. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 21. Okay. Whereas Police Chief William Gummel, by memo dated January 16, 2024, and Parks Crew Chief Bruce Stutz, by email dated January 24, 2024, have requested that adjustments be made to the town's 2024 adopted budget for their respective departments. Now therefore be it resolved that the following budget amendments be and are hereby approved in the 2024 adopted budgets of the Town of Lancaster. Police Fund, from the equipment, public safety equipment, to contractual expenses, public safety equipment. Forestry and Community Beautification, $1,500 from the contractual expenses, chemicals, to the contractual expenses, dues and subscriptions, and transfer $3,000 from contractual expenses, services performed by the Highway Department to the maintenance, materials, and supplies. And I'm sorry, I'm going to maybe repeat myself, but the police fund, the encumber was $22,751.74, in case I missed that. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Resolution number 22, whereas on December 5th, 2011, the town of Lancaster entered into an agreement with Wendell Architecture, Engineering Survey, and Landscape Architecture, PC, to provide professional services, which included upgrades to the town's functional geographic information system, better known as GIS, for the development and implementation of ArcGIS server, web mapping, application, integration and update of culvert layer, drainage analysis, and GIS technical support and training. And whereas the contract with Wendell to provide annual GIS web map application hosting and ArcGIS Online administrative and GIS GPS support services for the town of Lancaster's GIS program has expired according to its contract terms. And whereas Highway Superintendent John Pilato has requested that the town renew said agreement with Wendell for ArcGIS Online, administrative and GIS GPS support services, and GIS web map application hosting services as included in the software subscription agreement for the 2024 calendar year. And whereas the 2024 cost for Wendell's ArcGIS Online administration and GIS GPS support services is $4,000, which is no increase from 2023, and the cost for GIS web map application hosting is $4,620, no increase from 2023 per Wendell's proposal dated January 26, 2024. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby approves the GIS services agreement between the town of Lancaster and Wendell to provide the town's highway department professional GIS support services, which includes ArcGIS Online Administrative, GIS GPS support services, and the GIS web map application hosting services for an amount not to exceed $8,620 per their proposal dated January 26, 2024, which will be paid for with funds available in the town's 2024 drainage contractual expenses, professional services budget, line item number 01-8540-0451, and be it further resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute the 2024 GIS services agreement with Wendell effective January 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, and the software subscription agreement, which will also be effective January 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, pending receipt and approval of professional liability coverage effective 1/1/24 by the town attorney's office. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question?
One, if I may.
Certainly.
I haven't seen this contract, I haven't seen the certificates of insurance, I don't know anything about it, so if there's any reference in here that I've approved this, it's not right.
Yeah. All right, so again, it's not going to take effect until it is approved by the town attorney's office. So as soon as you see that, let us know. Okay. On the roll. We got a second on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. Okay, right now we're going to do our presentation of communications. Ready? Okay. Number 55, received and filed. Number 56, Planning Committee. Number 57, received and filed. Number 58, received and filed. Number 59, resolution tonight. Number 60, resolution tonight. 61, received and filed. 62, received and filed. 63, resolution tonight. 64, resolution tonight. 65, Building and Grounds Committee. 66, received and filed. 67, resolution tonight. 68, received and filed. 69, received and filed. Number 70, resolution tonight. Number 71, to the Solid Waste and Recycling Committee. Number 72, to the Highway Department. Number 73, Planning Committee. Number 74, Received and Filed. Number 75, Planning Committee. Number 76, Received and Filed. Number 77, Planning Committee. Number 78, Planning Committee. And number 79, Drainage Committee. All right, now we're at the point of the meeting where anybody can address the town board on any topic that they care to, for a total of 30 minutes. Anybody who wants to talk to the board about anything at this point, please raise your hand and be recognized by myself. Then again, come up, give your name and address to the town clerk. Speak directly to the town board members, not the audience, using the microphone provided, and speak once for 5 minutes or less, unless the town board grants a speaker an extension of this time limit. Do we have anybody here who wants to address the town board on any matter? Okay, we don't have that many people here except for town people, so I didn't think we would. We'll throw it out for a second and a third time, and I think we're good to go. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we are going to have a couple of executive sessions, so we're going to have a motion to go into executive session. If I could have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Studley?
Yes.
Supervisor Leary?
Yes. And hang on one second. Just want to make sure everybody knows why we're going into executive session. Two different reasons. Number one, medical review of persons, and number 8, collective bargaining. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. We'll be back out here when we're done.
Much trouble?